Hey, we're here today to talk about the Rokon, the legendary Rokon. Most people have never heard of them. It's a bike that a man named Charles Finn invented in 1958. And a few years later, in the early 60s, he got his patent on it. A two-wheel drive motorcycle. If you'll ease around to this side, we'll just kind of look at this. Very basic, but really cool ingenuity. We've got a two-stroke engine here, 130-something cc, made by a division of Chrysler Motor Company. Underneath it, it says Industrial Two-Cycle Engine by Chrysler Motor Company. And it drives basically a torque converter, which runs through this shaft to drive the rear wheel. But what's cool, where it runs through here, it picks up this shaft here from a pulley on the other side and drives a gear head, a little shaft inside the frame, and you can see here where it comes out. We have it pivots a U-joint that drives this gearbox for the front wheel drive as well. So we have a disc brake. This is a 1971 model. This disc brake here stops both wheels and locks them up. Pull starter, torque converter, so there's no shifting to it. This being a 1971 design for Trailbreaker for hunting. People would hunt and fish. I've seen a lot of pictures where they had deer, wild boars strapped on the back seat, pulling them out of some really tough areas. And you know, through the years, the ATVs took over. We have a four-wheeler up here. We know what it'll do nowadays, but think about the width, the bulkiness of a four-wheeler versus the skinny, narrow Rokon. So 40 plus years old, this is still an amazing motorcycle. Some people call them mini bikes. I call them motorcycles. It's got two wheels and a motor. It's lightweight. It sits really low. The ground clearance here is almost 12 inches. Here's a new Honda CRF 150. You know, that's much faster and smoother. But for what this was designed for, this is still way unique. We've got about 8.5 clearance, ground clearance underneath that. Look at this. Look at these foot pegs. You come to a log. They just roll up. The very first ones he designed in 58 or 9, the prototypes were designed that way, and they still stuck with that. You can work on these in the field with some basic hand tools, but they're real durable machines. We're going to crank it up here in a second. Try it out. They say they'll climb a tree, so we might try that first. Let's see if the old antique will crank up. See, it wants to climb the tree. We've got some concrete steps out back, and I think we'll ease up to those steps. And from a dead start at 1 mile per hour, that'll be a good test for this. Let's go out back. Okay, here we are on the steps. I've already came up the first flight of steps. I'm nosed into this one right here, so we're not going to have any running start at all. Piece of cake, anybody can do it. Just tap your feet, keep it balanced, and that's actually that's like duck soup. There's no problem on this Rokon. Let's go try the creek. Okay, we're going to borrow my neighbor's bank here. It's about a 45-degree angle, and we butted up against it. We're not going to have a running start. We're going to sit right here and accelerate up that and see what the Rokon does. Okay, so we saw that Rokon could stop on a dime, start and stop on the incline, so you can see just how versatile these units are. And pack your gear on the back and get in some really back country. We're going to try out the creek and going up some slick rocks. Hey, here we're back, and a year ago today in Nashville we had the great floods. This used to be a small pond. All this water and gravel and mud washed off these hills, and I've got my tractor stuck in there almost twice. There's not much bottom to that. It looks like there's a pretty good gravel base, but this Rokon I'll just tiptoe around it with no problem. So I'm going to come down through the creek bed there, circle out through there, and come through this ditch and up this bank here where this old topsoil's been sitting here for years. Let's see how it does. There again, the Rokon pulls through with an ease. And the cool thing about it, you don't have to be an experienced motorcycle rider because the ground clearance from the seat to the ground is so low, you can always flat foot it, and all you basically have to do is do this right here and give it a little gas, and your brakes here. So it's an awesome machine for a beginner, a novice, or whatever your level is of riding. They're still making these machines now with some Wisconsin motors and Honda motors on them. And most of them have a 3-speed. Not that you shift on the fly, but you low, medium, and high. And will make actually 40 miles per hour. Where this unit here probably runs about 18 miles an hour. Okay, we've seen the Rokon try to climb a tree. If you just had traction, it would have made it on up the tree. We've seen the Rokon climb concrete steps at 1 mile per hour. We've seen it go through creeks. We've seen it stop on banks going up and down. And take off without spinning its tires. To be 40 plus years old, comparing it with new motorcycles, it's a whole different animal, but it's still a very unique piece of machinery. And I'd also like to dedicate this video to Mr. Gaston, who I acquired this machine through his daughter, and he bought this new. He had 2 of them actually, and he had a lot of fun with decades with this machine. I've been having a lot of fun as well. Thank you.